Hey guys, what is up? It's JT here with another video. And before I get into this video, I must apologize. I didn't upload a video for like 3 days now. And it was because I was in the middle of a move, moving to Miami. I'm gonna be here for a few months, around like 4 or 5 months ish. And I may move back for Virginia, but I'm not gonna bore you the details for another video. But the point is, I was moving, so I couldn't upload videos for those days because I was in the middle of a move. I had to pack all my stuff, get all my stuff all set up, and now I'm in this house now where I'm set up, and I should be able to upload pretty regularly, but not as regularly as I was before because I still have a lot of stuff going on here. But again, it's for another video. But for this one, we're going to be going over LSD side effects and long-term effects. Now, I wanted to shed some light on this subject, mainly just because this is a touchy subject for people who want to do acid. They're really like, man, it's going to stay in my spinal cord, and I'm going to be legally insane if I take more than 7 tabs. Like, those are myths, by the way. But, you know, people say these things, and I just want to shed some light on it, and how it's probably, along with most hallucinogens and psychedelics, are pretty safe, okay? Now, I'm going to go down the list of some side effects and, you know, long-term effects and stuff like that, the short and long-term effects of it, and just kind of give you this, you know, my overall thing. Don't take it just from me, guys. Do your own research as well. But this is stuff that I've experienced, that I know about, and just what I've researched as well. And I guarantee you guys, you'll find almost similar, if not the same, side effects, short and long, online or anywhere from a doctor probably, or whatever. They'll tell you the same exact thing. This is stuff I looked over. This morning I was researching for like 4 hours to make sure all my facts were straight. So, and everything did check out. So, without any further ado, let's dive right in this video. So, short-term effects. Let's go to the first one, all right? So, the first one is increased blood pressure and heart rate, you know, so, and body temperature. So, how that works is, you know, this is my 2 cents on that. It's, for me at least, when I'm on acid, it's not the acid or LSD that's making me have that increased heart rate, so to speak, okay? It's not that. What's happening is, because of what I'm seeing, or because of how I'm hallucinating, or whatever, because of the paranoia associated with acid or during the trip, right? Naturally, of course, I'm going to be a little nervous, so my heart's going to go up, and of course my blood pressure's going to go up, right? And that's generally what they mean by that symptom right there. That's going to happen, right? So, but it's not like, you know, if you fucking railed some Molly or something like that, you could be completely calm and then your heart's up because Molly, you know, causes your heart to go up. So, if that's, I mean, for me at least, that's how I figure it. But, you know, it could just do it on its own for some people. But for me, almost, it's never, the acid is never itself caused just on its own if I'm not nervous to be, you know, for an escalated blood pressure or heart rate. You know, it's never happened to me. Or body temperature, for example. Like, I don't get cold sweats or a fever if I'm on acid. Now, of course, all of these side effects that I'm listing here are completely personal. They all just, like, these are just kind of like the overall general layout, but some people experience some things and some people won't. Some people experience some extra things and some people, you know, won't as well. So it depends. But that's the first one, and that's my take on it. You know, let's move on to the second one, shall we? All right, so the second one is dizziness and sleeplessness. This is a one that I completely fucking agree with. Dizziness generally for me happens only if I take a higher dose. If I'm taking a higher dose of LSD, generally, yes, I will feel some dizziness because I'm just a little, not drunk, but you're intoxicated, of course, and you just feel a little woozy, for example. You don't feel, you know, you're not completely 100% with, you know, physically as far as for walking, right? I only found that with higher doses. With smaller doses, like one or 2 tabs that are like low dosed, honestly, I could walk pretty fine. It wasn't that much of an issue, right? Now, naturally, of course, if you're seeing things and things are looking a little differently, then of course, you might be a little dizzy. But granted, if you're taking a lower dose, you should be straight. But sleeplessness, that's something that I agree with across the board. That website that I found it on couldn't have hit the, you know, head right in the nail any better. Sleeplessness is a huge problem for me when I drop acid. You know, I drop it and I just cannot sleep for like at least, you know, 14 hours. I just can't sleep. You know, it takes a while. Even after the trip, you know, the trip's like 8 to 12 hours and I cannot sleep for a while until not only is the acid completely gone, but the trip's gone, but I don't feel anything. At that point, then I can go to sleep. But sleepiness is a huge thing, and that's something you have to consider before taking acid. Before you get into it, is realize that you're not going to be able to sleep for quite some time, but you're going to have like a tired, like for me, I have a tired sensation, like I want to go to sleep, but I just can't, you know, like an insomnia sort of thing. So you got to be prepared for that and keep in mind that you will not be able to go to sleep for a little while. I wouldn't recommend mixing it with Xanax, but I've heard of people doing it, and, you know, if you can do that, do it at your own discretion, but I didn't recommend it, but it is an option for you. Okay, next thing is numbness and weakness. Now, personally, this is one that I was a little, like, iffy on. Like, numbness and weakness, it's individualized for me, at least. That's something I don't get. I don't feel numb necessarily. Like I don't feel numb all over. I feel weird. That's it. I mentally and physically feel a little weird, but I don't feel numb. Now, of course, as I said before, and I'll say it again, these things are totally different for everyone else. Some people are going to get them, and some people won't. Some people will get this, and some people will get that. It varies. But numbness and weakness, personally, I don't get those things, so I don't have anything to share about those, but that's just something that was on there, and I figured I'd put it on there because it was pretty important that you guys know about that, because it might happen to you, so be prepared, okay? The next thing, and the last thing for short-term effects that I was able to find was rapid emotions. This is something that I also heavily agree with, and something that's probably going to happen to every single one of you guys out there trying to do acid, right? This is something that happens, I think, like I said, to everyone. I don't think anyone can take a tab of acid and say that they don't go through 10 different mood swings within 4 hours. You're going to be swinging through paranoia, fear, happiness, excitement, enlightenment. It's going to be all across the board. It's going to happen a lot, and that's just natural. It's what happens with LSD, and it's the way that you take the acid and the way that you're able to kind of adapt to it is how your trip goes. That's generally, I'm kind of going into how I did my one of my first videos was, how to have a good trip. But this is pretty, I'm kind of just hinting on it that how you handle those mood swings and how you handle what you're seeing is all in the game of having a good trip. How you handle it. So just remind yourself that, not that this is a video for it, but just remind yourself that you're on drugs and you need to calm down. And you're trying to take it to learn something. That's what I would say. But enough of the tip. I just wanted to tell you about that. But that is definitely something that you're definitely going to feel. I'd bet my life on it that every person who takes acid will have rapid mood swings. You're just going to be switching all over the place. But just, stay in there, hang in there. You'll be good. Just ride it through. Okay. Last thing, long-term effects. So this is the one thing I want to get into because a lot of people are like, all right, these are short-term effects. That's what's going to happen when you're on it. That's what I can expect, right? But long-term, what's going to happen to me in the long term after I take a tab of acid, right? Okay, I could not find anything compelling enough to tell me, or to tell anyone else rather, that LSD is going to kill you in long term. I couldn't find anything, right? Honestly, what I found long term for weed, which maybe I'll do another video for side effects and long term effects of weed, right? What I found for weed was much more, not necessarily detrimental, but much more harmful than what I found for LSD. Call it the lack of research, but I doubt it. The drug's been around since 1938, and there's been extensive research all the way up until the 60s. So they've had a plenty of amount of time to look into the long-term effects, and they still have found nothing. So chances are, I don't think there's anything thus far. But the only thing I did find long-term effects was HPPD, other known as Alice in Wonderland syndrome, and flashbacks. So the only two things, and I'll go to explain those things right now. So HPPD, or other known as Alice in Wonderland syndrome. That's a syndrome that when you can either be predisposed to it, right? Or it was much more commonly known and criticized during, the 80s during the drug thing, the anti-drug campaign with, during the Reagan administration, that pretty much that after you took a tab of acid, your brain was never going to be the same, and that you'd have flashbacks years after, right? This is built on some truth, the fact that when people have a bad trip and they can't handle themselves well, years after or months after, when they can't think, when they're not necessarily thinking about it, they will trip. Now, personally, it's never happened to me. I don't know anyone that's ever happened to, actually, as a matter of fact. I don't know anyone. I have a bunch of friends who've taken acid, and I don't know anyone who's ever had that. And, it's probably been maybe 2 years since I took my first tab of acid, and I've never, ever, 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 ever had that issue. Now, it depends. Honestly, that's something you have to consider too, because you have to consider it. Maybe you may have to deal with it later on. But the way they play it up, and from what I researched, it seems extremely fucking rare, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen, right? The next thing was flashbacks. Now, flashbacks is very similar to HPPD. The only difference is flashbacks can occur auditory as well. So auditory flashbacks, where you just hear things that you heard during a trip, whereas in HPPD, that is completely hallucinations. It's completely visual. It's just what you see. So that's pretty important to be able to make that distinction, because some people, mistake them for both, and I personally did before. I had heard about HPPD, and I also heard about flashbacks, but I figured they were one of the same as LSD and acid are. I felt like they were the same. That's what I thought, but after doing some research this morning, I was like, all right, this is different, and they made a distinction online, and I was able to make up the distinction that flashbacks are completely different. They can be auditory or they can be visual as well, but they're much shorter, and they don't happen consistently over a period of time, whereas HPPD happens a consistent period of time, and it's a disorder. It's something that happens over a period of time, much like PTSD, for example. That's the best way to explain it. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted, as I said before, I just wanted to give you guys an overlay. It's my first time back on the street on YouTube after a couple days taking off because, you know, I moved. So I'm getting back into just the things that I apologize if everything's not up to par because I just set up a new studio here and stuff like that. So I had to get everything all settled up. So I apologize. I hope you guys accept my apology. But anyways, so I guys really hope you guys enjoyed. Smash the like button if you guys enjoyed. Leave down a comment below. You know I love those comments for any suggestions, comments, concerns, criticism, whatever. You know I love the comments. Go ahead and throw something down there, whatever it is. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Ready to pop, drop top, fuck cops, and I'm never gonna stop. Cop drop in my mouth, cause I'm sick with the shit that I spit out the lip, rip and dip with the clip. The whole team gotta hit real quick.